And we're live. Let's have a look. Walking the dog at the moment. It's Saturday the 30th. God dear, where has the time gone? The camera's a bit dirty. Give this a little bit of a wipe. Give me one sec. Uno momento, por favor, you wonderful lot. That'll do. It's as good as it's going to get. So bear with me. You might have to bear with me a little bit. I'm currently out walking the dog, which means I will have to stop right now to pick up a great big honking pile of poo. But that doesn't mean I can't talk because I've got the Bluetooth plugged in. So what's been happening on the news? For those who don't know, and for those that do, there's been an unfortunate tragedy at London Bridge. And now I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before. I think it was on, let's just say late this week, within the last couple of days. That's it. We've had another suspected terrorist attack, didn't we, at London Bridge? I believe it was yesterday at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Let me scratch my face. There we go. Now, I've made a couple of comments on social media in regards to this on LBC and The Sun, and I don't know what to make of it really, because yes, of course it's sad. 2 people have lost their life. Give me 1 second to put the phone down while I throw my dog's crap away. That's it. Obviously it's a sad thing. 2 people, innocent people might I add, I believe have lost their life because of an idiot with a knife or sharp object, and he was shot dead. I have seen the full uncut video or videos of this man getting shot. He was shot twice. So there's that. And no, before anyone asks me, I am not going to send it to anyone because it's not nice to watch, to be fair. But it makes you wonder, is this an act of terrorism? Is it an act of terrorism? Because I'm going to encourage all of you who like a good conspiracy to get your tin-foil hats out. And there's a reason for it. I don't believe terrorists work by themselves. Not really. Not lone incidents. I mean, yes, it happened at Whitehall a couple of years ago when that bloke drove his car across the bridge, crashed into the fence, jumped out, and unfortunately stabbed to death a police officer. You know, that's never a great thing, but you have to look at the timing. And this is why I'm saying get your tin foil hats out, because the conspiracy theory is coming. We've got coming in the next 12 days. Is it 12 days? Within the next 2 weeks, we've got a general election coming through, and we've got 2 main party leaders who don't know their elbows from their arseholes. They are, by all intents and purposes, as thick as a plank, have absolutely no idea what it is the public really want, who say what they think we want to hear, and make all these different promises about what they think they can do to make life for me and you better. Bearing in mind, they all earn up to and over 80 grand a year, I believe, and claim expenses, you see, have rather nice houses, and work 5 days a week without having to do overtime. You know, and they think they can tell me what would make my life better. You know, you've got the likes of Jeremy Corbyn, who seems to think that he can give everything away for free while giving us all a 4-day working week, while at the same time taking loads of money away from billionaires, because apparently being a billionaire is a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Being a billionaire is actually quite a good thing, and here's the reason why. Billionaires employ people, and billionaires tend to have businesses, multiple businesses, where people have jobs, you know, who work for these billionaires. Billionaires create jobs, you see. And even if you was to take a billionaire's wealth and tax that at 1%, you're still getting more money paid back into the system than what a millionaire would give. And look at the difference between a million and a billion. You can count to a million in 12 days. You can count to a billion in 31 years. So if a billionaire was to pay 1% of his earnings, even if he had just £1 billion, he's already paying more into the system than anyone. Think about that. And apparently it's bad to be a billionaire. Bearing in mind, billionaires create jobs and give people money and housing. Realistically, that's what you got to think of. You see, it's a bad thing to be a billionaire. And then all of a sudden you've got let's plant loads and loads of trees by God knows what time, and it's all well and good. I agree with planting loads of trees. In fact, I believe both parties are stealing ideas from the Brexit party. Yes, they are. You look at the Brexit party manifesto or promise book or whatever they call it, their contract to the people, and then look at the latest promises or, you know, legislation that the other two main red and blues are putting out there. They're all stolen from the Brexit party or Nigel Farage's UKIP from a couple of years ago. I'm telling you. So this is all going back to the London Bridge thing. Going back to this general election, which is coming up within the next 2 weeks, and the clusterfuck of interviews that Corbyn and Boris Johnson are giving, both just stubbing their toes on camera, basically, not having a clue what they're talking about, making empty promises, calling each one a liar. Don't you think it's a bit strange how this happens now? It's almost like diverting attention away from what's really happening in government. You know, it's like we've got nothing to talk about but Brexit and politics. All of a sudden, there's a single bloke which was released early from prison. Released early from prison, who clearly wasn't vetted enough, made a long trip down to London Bridge from where he was and managed to get hold of a sharp knife or sharp object and then go on a hacky slashy rampage, you see, and then was shot. I reckon he was released early and told to do it by powers that be, you see, knowing full well he was going to die. Either his family would get some kind of benefit from it, or he would get some kind of benefit from it before being shot. You know, but I reckon it was a case of, we'll let you out early, you do this for us. Are we back? I think we're back. So a single bloke with a sharp object and a fake explosive device strapped to his body. Isn't it strange how it's just one person? It's almost like a scene from Four Lions. And for those of you who don't know it, it's on Amazon Prime Video. Four Lions is an absolutely smashing movie about four blokes who want to kill the infidel, basically, and they want to go and cause jihad and this, that and the other. But it is a comedy. It is a comedy. And they want to blow up the internet, brother. You know, we're going to go and blow up a load of chickens, brother. I'm going to go Rubber Dinghy Rapids. You know, that sort of thing. It's almost like Fessel running across the field with a bag of explosives, knowing full well it was a stupid thing to do, and then blowing himself up along with a sheep. He martyred himself is what he did. You know, don't you think it's a bit strange how there was only one bloke? You can't tell me no one else knew about this shit. Someone else knew what this bloke was doing. And if he hasn't got any ID, then they should get his dental records or DNA, find out exactly who the rest of his family are, and then probe them. I don't know much about this bloke, to be fair. I genuinely don't know where he's from. All I know is that someone made a fake explosive device, strapped it around themselves, went on a hacky slashy stabbing spree on London Bridge. I don't know if he's English, Asian, Chinese, I don't know. If he's Muslim, I don't know. I genuinely don't have all the facts to this. I don't know his name. You know, I don't. But someone does. And someone knows exactly what he was going to do, where he was going to go. And as far as I'm concerned, if it was me that was in prison for however long and then released early and then went on a murder spree, you know, whether I told anyone or not, I would expect all of my family, that's my mum, my dad, my sister, my other half, my kids, to be pulled in by the old Bill and questioned profusely about everything. Cross-examine all the evidence, every single spoken word, write it down, record it, find out what's going on. If I'm a man of worship, go to the church, find out exactly what churches I've been going to, find out everything about me, because if it's not just me, there's going to be someone else involved, and I guarantee someone would have known about this. I guarantee someone else knows. And here's my little prediction. Here is my little prediction, and it's a sad one. It really is, and I really do hope it doesn't come true. You see, I hope it doesn't come true, because I've got my tin foil hat on. There's a little bit of tin foil inside my woolly one right now. I think this has all been orchestrated by powers that be to divert attention away from what's going on in government. I reckon this is all very much, you know, orchestrated from within. I think there's going to be another one or another two incidents, one more in London and one in Manchester, Leeds or Birmingham. That's what I think. That's what I think is going to happen, and I really hope it doesn't, because I'm sick to death and it upsets me. It does. It upsets me when I turn on the news or I listen to the radio to find that innocent people have lost their lives because of some twat with a sharp object, or some twat with a gun, or some prick with acid, or a van that wants to drive into people. It upsets me, because these people getting hurt are innocent. They're innocent sons, they're innocent daughters, they're innocent fathers, mothers, brothers, aunts, sisters. They're human beings getting hurt for the sake of what? This at London Bridge that happened should never have happened. Should never have happened. People that are in prison for what they're in there for, I'm sorry, shouldn't be allowed to be let out early. This bloke allegedly was let out early. Why? And if he was let out early, who was in charge of letting him out early? Who? Who was in charge of looking at this bloke's paperwork, assessing him and thinking, hey up, you know what lad, I think this bloke here in cell number 4 in East Wing, he's been here a while now, he's been a good lad. I think we should let him go. He's caused absolutely no problem. He's sat there every day looking at wall, reading papers and letters from mum. He's alright. You know? I think whoever was in charge of that mistake needs to be put in that cell for a very long time. Someone's, oh for God's sake, oh I've got to cross this bloody road. I'm my neighbour. Hang on, I'll cross over. I can't hear you, I've got my headphones in. Hang on. I've got my neighbour down there with his 2 dogs. They're lovely dogs, lovely with children. I know them both. One's called Buster, one's called Zeus. They're both bull mastiffs, absolutely wonderful dogs. But my dog don't get on with them. So I'm crossing the road to keep it safe for everyone. Hang on one sec, everybody. Have a good evening, I'll see you later. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. See you in a bit. He's a lovely bloke, he is. Stanford, enough. So yeah, that's what I think's going on. You know, I really do think that whoever was in charge of letting this bloke out early needs to be looked at. I want to know how much he was being paid, how long he was doing his job for, and I want to know his qualifications. Or her, to be fair, you know. Got to keep it equal. I don't know who let him out early, but apparently he was released early from prison. And this is what happens when you release dangerous people out of prison early. They go and they re-offend. You see? And then there's people out there that are going to end up saying, yeah, but keeping people in prison isn't productive and we haven't got the capacity, we haven't got the space. I can tell you now, this is what I think should happen if I had a political party, you see, and I was running for Prime Minister. This is what I would do to try and prevent incidents that happened at London Bridge. First of all, I would, just like the Brexit Party, halve foreign aid to countries who have their own space program, for example. That's India. Okay? China, if they get any money from us, they have their own space program, and yet we send countries an obscene amount of money. All the money the Brexit Party said they would save, I would save that. You see? And then in order to try and ease off the pressure from the NHS, I would get more police officers, more than just 20,000. No. You see, 20,000 extra police officers puts the numbers back up to what they were in 2010. I would make a massive recruitment drive. I would want to get 50 to 60,000 plus extra officers back into this country, is what I would want to do. And I would change it back from being a police service to being a police force, where police officers, men and women alike, are treated with the respect they deserve because they have the ability to do their job effectively, you see? And with more police and more responsibility on their plate in order to do their job, there would also be less crime on the street. And here's another way I'm going to try and protect the NHS. You see, with more money into the police service and more people getting caught with sharp objects, especially young people being caught with knives. You see, between the ages of 13 and 18, they go and join the Army Cadets and they stay there for a minimum of 5 years, where they will get an education, be taught discipline, self-respect, manners, and how to be generally good people, and come out the other side of it with a newfound respect for everyone, including themselves. It would also be a case of, over the age of 18, if you're caught with a knife, you do an automatic 5 years with no chance of coming out early. I would also build 5 new prisons with the money saved from everything. 5 new high capacity prisons, might I add, where all the inmates are given to eat is porridge in the morning with their choice of milk or water to be made with a pinch of salt or a pinch of sugar. A vegetarian or non-vegetarian option for a sandwich in the afternoon, and a vegetarian or non-vegetarian option for a meal in the evening with no snacks. Because I can tell you now, I've been in hospital for a very long time and the food in hospital is shockingly bad. So if they can have worse food than what I was getting, that would be great. You see, with no chance of being let out early whatsoever. You see, young kids need to be joining the army. And I also think that once they finish their 5-year stint, they may actually want to stay in the army and get a career out of it. How does that sound? Doesn't it? And with fewer knives on the street, and with less crime happening and more police, don't you think that would ease the pressure off the NHS while also receiving a damn sight more funding? You see, I would also try and get companies that make medicines into this country, make the great British Pharmaceutical Association, where we make our own medicines, create jobs. Instead of begging Germany for insulin, we could make it ourselves, couldn't we? With the money we're saving from giving it to the European Union. Don't you think that's a wonderful idea? We could create jobs. You see, there's so many different things to do to create jobs and wealth in this country that we could do for ourselves instead of palming it off. It's true, the waste that we recycle, instead of spending thousands and thousands of pounds, even millions every single year, exporting it to countries to dump into landfill or burn it, why don't we spend less money than that and save some and do it in-house? Do it all at home. We could recycle, reuse the stuff we want to get rid of, instead of dumping it in the ocean or giving it to someone and saying it's not our problem, now it's yours. We could do that here and create jobs out of that. We could be world leaders. And that's Nigel Farage's idea. Yet again, you know, Nigel Farage is saying about planting more trees. Let's not talk about cutting down CO2 so much, although it's a great idea. Let's talk about CO2 absorption. This was his idea. And instead of coming up with some crap number that Diane Abbott cooked up, he's saying let's just become world leaders in tree planting. You know, let's take charge. Let's clean the environment one tree at a time. He didn't set an actual number. Let's just plant loads of trees and everyone will take note and follow us. Great. You see, we can make a better society for everyone and prevent incidents like London Bridge happening again, just from making the country we live in a better place. You see, it doesn't have to be right wing, it doesn't have to be left wing, it just has to be common sense. The Common Sense Party, that's what I'm going to start cooking up one day. The Common Sense Party, where the actual majority rule. You know, that's what I think. That's what I think. Common sense will prevail one day. One day it will. It will prevail. And incidents like London Bridge, the tragedy of London Bridge, will never happen again. I hope it doesn't. But like I said, unfortunately, I'm predicting it is going to happen again. I'm trying to get over this road without dying. There we go. No, I honestly, I don't want it to happen, but when you've seen things that I've seen, and you've heard things that I've heard, and you've worked in the places that I've worked, you know, you can't just look at something as what it is. Yes, it's a bloke with a knife. Yes, 2 people died. You have to look at the bigger picture, and you have to look at the what ifs. Because if you don't look at the what ifs, you'll never start questioning what's happening around you. What if? Okay, let's throw this out there. Okay, what if I'm right? What if one of the parties, one of the political parties in this country, what if it is exposed 10, 15, 20 years from now that the London Bridge attack that happened yesterday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, what if it's exposed that one of the political parties orchestrated that? What if someone does enough digging and finds enough evidence to expose, say, Jeremy Corbyn or Boris Johnson or whoever else may be, Joe Swinson, you know, just to take the eye off the political ball on the news. Because it has diverted everyone's attention, don't you think? Don't you reckon? No one's talking about Brexit anymore, are they? No one's talking about the election. It's all London Bridge this, London Bridge that, and rightfully so too. But no one's looking at the bigger picture. You know, no one's looking at who let this bloke out, what this bloke was in prison for, why he was let out early, you see? And why, if this bloke was let out early, was he by himself? It's very rare that things like this happen solo. I mean, even that bloke in the car that done Westminster Bridge a couple of years ago, you know, guarantee he wasn't by himself in the planning of that. Guarantee he wasn't. What makes it worse about that is he was tracked on camera. These people are known to the police. This is what gets me. This is what gets me. The amount of people that are known to the police that end up committing absolutely atrocious crimes, murders, and then we see it on the news, and then it also comes out of, oh yes, this man was known to the police for the last 5 years and they were keeping him under observation. Well, I can tell you now, he wasn't under enough observation, because clearly they've taken their eye off the ball, because he's managed to get a knife, make his way to London, or, you know, make his way to wherever else these atrocities happen, and kill people. So if you're known to the police, or the police are aware of what's going on, why do they allow it to happen? I'll tell you why. Because they are allowed to allow it to happen. These things happen, unfortunately, with my conspiracy theory head on, happen for a reason. They are allowed to happen to divert our attention away from what else is happening elsewhere. That is what I believe. Oh, doesn't it just make your blood boil listening to me rant on about crap yet again? I know there's a lot of you out there thinking, what is this guy talking about? He has got an absolute clue what he's talking about. He's banging on about politics, he's talking about conspiracy theories, he's talking about London Bridge, he's talking about Brexit without knowing what he's talking about. Believe me, when it comes to politics, I know exactly what I'm talking about, because I have lived my life through Conservative, Labour, Conservative, Labour, Conservative, Conservative, Lib Dem, and more Conservative. Probably not in that exact order, but we've not known anything else but the same bullshit lies and shit from the same two bullshit parties that claim they can do everything for us while charging very little. No, Boris Johnson is a liar, and the Conservative Party, who I have never voted for, will still never get my vote, because I refuse to vote Conservative. You know, I don't believe that any of the ideas for their manifesto are cooked up from scratch. I believe that all of their ideas, including the Australian points-based system or a Canada Plus trade deal as their own idea, no. That comes from Nigel Farage's UKIP ideas from within the last 5 years, you see. And as for Corbyn and Labour, he's basically the unicorn party, you see, promising the world, promising everything for free when nothing's free. Nothing's free in this life. You want to get free broadband, that's fine, get free broadband. Where do you think it's going to be paid for? Your council tax is where it's going to be paid for. So when you're paid an extra £5 a month or a £5 a week, you think you're getting free broadband that only gives you 1 or 2 megabytes per second. Fine, complain about it, because no one's going to help you. You see, your broadband is free to idiots because it's all paid for by you. You and everyone else that pays their council tax is where your free broadband is going to come from under the Labour Party. You see? And by the way, let me just throw this out there as well. I keep banging on about it. I'm going a bit off topic at the moment. I just want to talk about the SNP, the Scottish National Party. Really do want to talk about them because there was a referendum for Scottish independence, to which Scotland voted to remain within the United Kingdom. I just want to throw this out there, you know, especially if you are Scottish, and I know there are a few Scotsmen and women that are subscribed to this channel. I just want you to understand that if you did have a second Scottish referendum to be part of the United Kingdom, and you all voted, or a majority of you voted to leave and become independent, this is what you would lose out on, okay? This is what you'd lose. You would lose your free education system, you would lose your free prescriptions, you would lose your cheap housing you have over there, along with your subsidised council tax rates. You would lose jobs. Yes, you would. You would end up losing millions, and I mean millions of pounds every week, because you would clearly want to be a part of the European Union. The European Union would not want to prop up all your fancy benefits that you get over there, because there's more people that live in London than what live in the entirety of Scotland. Think about that. You think the European Union is want to prop you guys up, the 5 million Scotsmen and women and children, prop you up. You want to be part of that exclusive European Union club, you're going to have to fork out like everyone else did. And to be honest with you, even if you did become part of that club, because the UK is leaving in general, you see, and as the third biggest contributor to the European Union, within 5 years of us leaving, the EU would be broke. And if the EU is broke, that means you're broke too. So just think about that. You want Scottish independence, you can have Scottish independence. Vote for it all you want. But you really would be on your own and poor big time without the rest of the UK. You see, you can't survive on fishing and oil, which is arguably not really yours anyway. So, no, I'm just saying. But anyway, on about the London Bridge thing. on about London Bridge, it is sad, and for every single man and woman that was there that took down this bloke before the police got there, all I can say is thank you very much for your bravery and your efforts, because you did save lives that day. You did. To the man that took the knife away from the suspect, thank you, you saved lives. To everyone else that was in that area, I know it's scary, and I know you didn't really want to have to see that. Thank you for providing evidence to the police. If you did film it, I have seen the videos. It's not something that you want to see every day. And all I'm going to say is this, as a closing statement, we are living in dangerous times, and yes, it is me being very tinfoil hatty and conspiracy theory-ish, and it's probably not true. You know, it is probably more than likely the act of an idiot who took an opportunity with a sharp knife. I'm not saying for 1 second that my theory is 100% true. It is just a theory which can neither be proven nor disproven. All I'm going to say is be vigilant out there. If you see it and you suspect it, report it, because you never know. It is better to report it and have it be nothing than say nothing and have it be something. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.